up? What's up? It's been a couple minutes since I seen y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Unspoken Truth. I'm your host, Tanise. Let's get right into it, man. This is going to be a part 2 to an episode from 3 weeks ago about abuse. Tonight we're going to talk about mental, physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. The things to look for and the things that you can do to help heal yourself and protect yourself from people who are considered abusers. Okay? So I'm going to get right into it. Let's talk statistics. Okay? I jotted down a few things. I usually don't write stuff down, but let's go with it, okay? 5 signs of emotional abuse: humiliation and criticism, control and shame, accusing, blaming and denial, neglect and isolation. Always telling somebody what to do, okay, and how to do it in a negative way, okay? So let me clear that up. Verbal abuse occurs when one person uses words and body language to inappropriately criticize another. Mental abuse: one person may be led to believe and this is crazy. When I was writing this stuff out, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. Mental abuse is when a person may be led to believe that they are crazy. This is called gaslighting. Basically, must control and cast doubt on memories. Okay, so in other words, if you know you was there, you was present, you saw what happened because you was there, and they'll try to tell you that's not what happened, okay? Physical abuse: any deliberate and unwanted physical contact. Examples: black eyes, bloody nose, bruises, etc. Let's talk numbers. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been physically abused by their partner. That's crazy. Them numbers is crazy, and we watching what's happening, all around us. If you local here, some of the cases recently in regards to domestic violence, okay? So October is Domestic Violence Month. I'm not sure if everybody is aware of that, but it is. And honestly, it should be more than just 1 month that we take the time out to talk about these different kinds of abuse, what it looks like. Be able to share and be transparent about our experiences if we've had any with any of the forms of abuse. Okay? Physical and emotional abuse usually are commonly experienced together. I would have never thought that. Nobody would have been able to tell me that, that was what's happening, and that's what goes on. Okay? Mental abuse can cause anxiety, PTS, and low confidence and self-esteem. Love bombing is a common characteristic of an abuser, where they tell you all these good things to get on your good side and then begin verbally abusing and becoming narcissistic. Okay. Let's talk about narcissism. Okay, and what that means. Describes a person who is egotistic, self-serving, and doesn't acknowledge others' feelings. Example. It may be a person from your past, a person you went to school with, or maybe somebody you just met. And when you first meet them, they start out like, I'm a really good person. I'm just looking for somebody that I can settle down with and be with. I'm not in a relationship with nobody. And then you let that person in and start trusting and believing what they say. And then you find out that they got a girlfriend or a wife and they haven't even acknowledged their family. They haven't acknowledged their partner. It's like it don't exist. I can speak on that firsthand because I've been there. I've been there more times than I care to count, But we not here to talk about that. We here to discuss the signs, what to look for. So you can protect yourself from people like this. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is a narcissist or abuser. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this country suffers from mental health issues, period. Misdiagnosis, people not even getting the help that they need, people being overly medicated. It's a lot of different reasons why we have so many incidents and circumstances like this where people go too far. And the next thing you know, somebody is deceased behind somebody's words that then turned into action. So now I'm usually very real, down to earth, and transparent about the things that I've been through, the stuff that I've suffered in reference to abuse. And I've probably suffered from just about every last one of the forms of abuse that I've discussed, both in this episode and part 1. That's not nothing to be proud of. I'm saying that to say that you're not all in your head. Okay? It's not your mind playing tricks on you. It's not that at all. If somebody make you feel a certain type of way, excuse me, because I got some stuff going on with this computer. I feel like it's important to share. I always say that during my episodes because I don't want people to continue to feel like they the only one, or this can't happen to them, or but they said they love me. A lot of times people are using that word and they don't know the first thing about it. They don't know how to receive love. They don't know how to give it. And they'll use that because when most people hear that word, it's like, oh, okay, this person must care about me if they saying that to me. But a lot of times they say it so they can get whatever it is they trying to get from you. It has really no genuineness to it. A lot of times they say it so soon, you like, ain't no way you could love me. Those are love bombing signs to look for when you dating and vetting people to have in your life, And I'm not just saying in personal relationships. I mean your family, your friends, because abuse is not just in one form from one group of people. It comes in many forms from many different directions and people. I will say I'll just tell a little story about something that I've been through personally myself. And I was the person who was the abuser. I was being verbally abusive. I was being physically abusive. I feel like it came from a place of trauma, from stuff I've been through, where a lot of times we don't realize the effects that abuse have on our mental. The way we think, how we see things, the way we triggered by certain things, the way people say certain stuff to us, can be taken in a disrespectful way, whereas the person is not being disrespectful at all, but that's the way you took it. Or you became abusive because you was abused. A lot of times that's what happens. You turn into the person who you was afraid of. You start becoming that person. In my early 20s, I was in a very abusive relationship, and I didn't think nothing was wrong with it. And I don't know if it was because I never saw a healthy relationship, or if it was because I thought, like, well, if he act controlling and he doing all this stuff, then that means he care about me, you know. I really don't know exactly where it all came from, where and why I would tolerate that kind of stuff. But I did. And it went on for about 5 years. And nobody really knew until like the last 2 years what was really going on. And I think at that point it was because I was tired. I was ready to leave the relationship, but I didn't know how. You know, I felt like, where was I going to go? And because I suffered from childhood abuse and trauma, I thought, yeah, maybe this is love. Or maybe I should stay, because when stuff happened to me as a child, nobody did nothing. So what is anybody gonna do now that I'm an adult? And I think that was my mindset for most of the relationship. Because at that time I didn't see a way out. It wasn't until I got in some trouble and I was told, like, you know, we're gonna take your kids if you don't leave this relationship, if you don't let this go, if you don't protect you and your kids, we're gonna take them. And I think that was like a wake-up call for me, where I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I care, you know. I may believe in my mind at this moment that I love this man, but when they start saying, like, I'm gonna take your kids, I was like, oh shit. It, you know, excuse my language, it wasn't no option for me. I don't feel like I've ever put no man above my children, you know. So I did what I needed to do to make sure that I didn't lose my kids, to make sure I didn't continue to lose myself in the process. But what I did not do is allow myself to heal from that trauma, from that relationship. And shortly after, I got with who would become my husband. And I had been friends with him over a decade, so I didn't really feel like I needed to heal. Looking back now, I can say I know I needed to, but at the time I didn't think I needed to heal. I thought it was okay to go from that relationship to the next. And I got married. And all of the trauma from the previous relationship prior to my marriage, hey Peachy, I took all that trauma and baggage and stuff with me. I allowed it to infect my marriage, my relationship. In my mind, he was the person I was previously with, So when we would get into arguments, I wouldn't see who I was really with. I would see the person who I was abused by prior to my marriage. And a couple times I can recall saying his name to him, you know. And I think I realized then how much damage had been done from me being in that relationship that long and tolerating that kind of abuse, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. Like, I forgot who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. I just felt like that's what I deserved, you know. And a lot of times when you're a victim of abuse, that's how you feel. You feel like it's something that you did to warrant the behavior of the person who abused you. And that's the psychological piece to it. Unfortunately, you start victim shaming yourself, blaming yourself for what's being done to you. And I was married for 7 years, and it was a very toxic, tumultuous relationship and marriage. And I think it wasn't so much on my part, but I want to say both parts, because I don't think either one of us knew what we was getting ourselves into or what was really required of a marriage, both on a emotional level, I would say for the most part, for sure. I have been divorced 10 years this year, and I can say I learned quite a bit from that relationship. What I don't want in the future, in a husband, in a spouse, in a partner, in a relationship. I know that a lot of stuff that I tolerated, a lot of stuff that I issued out was very abusive, both to myself and the people that I was with, you know. I was taking out a lot of my frustration and anger and hurt and pain on them. I can admit it, you know. I'm not perfect. I ain't never told nobody I was perfect. I'm very real and transparent about the things I've been through, because whatever don't kill you gonna make you stronger. I learned that I don't need to be defined by a man. That's number one for sure. I learned that I'm okay by myself, and that it's okay to spend time with yourself, to get to know yourself, to work on yourself, to heal yourself. And I'm adamantly working at that every day. Some of the things that I decided to do was, I talked about this in the first part one of this topic, about counseling, therapy, and how in our communities and neighborhoods they tell us that we don't need therapy, and that whatever we going through is alright, we don't need to talk to nobody about it. Let me be the first to tell you it's not okay. And we do deserve an outlet, a place of peace, a place where we can talk about the hard stuff, the stuff that bothers us, the stuff that ultimately affects us, and either increases our growth or stun it. I started going to the park. I started doing stuff like I was a kid again. Like, I started to date myself, you know. I started to get down to the core of what was making me feel the need to have to be with somebody, and not be alone. And I mean, over a good 20 years, I was in a relationship. You know, I didn't have no time where I was just by myself. Like, right now, it's probably like the longest I've went without actively being in a long-term relationship. I've tried it. I'm actively dating for sure. But the dating pool is, I mean, everybody has got something that they dealing with, that they fighting against, that they trying to have victory over. And it's hard to date somebody who don't even acknowledge first that they got some issues and some stuff they need to deal with, and some things they need to do in order to become as whole as one can be, the best version of themselves. It's hard to date people that don't feel like change is good and growth is necessary, which I think just makes dating that much more harder to deal. But I just started doing the things for me that makes me happy instead of expecting that from somebody else. Instead of having that expectation that the other party owe that to me, or oh, that's a deal breaker if they ain't doing this, and this. And what I realized by doing that was I can't be defined by who I'm with. Like, I can't be broken because I'm not being told I'm beautiful. I tell myself that every day. I tell myself that I'm worthy. I deserve happiness. I'm beautiful and wonderfully made, and everything that I need I already have and possess. Like, that's a daily thing for me to, like, speak life over myself. Because I feel like that's how a lot of abusers get a hold of you. Because you already be kind of down in the dumps. Maybe you suffering from depression or low self-esteem or lack of confidence. And that's a gold mine to somebody who is a narcissist, a manipulator, an abuser on any level. Those are the type of things that they look for in the next victim that they choose. Mental health is one of the, if not the most important issue, the biggest problem, but yet the last one to get talked about, worked on, discussed, supported, backed by resources and activists and communities put together by experiences, victories over their abusers. Some unfortunately did not. And I just want to say my condolences to anybody who has lost somebody at the hands of domestic violence. Let me just say that for sure. A couple people come to mind. would never exploit nobody or put nobody's business out there. But yeah, I definitely plan on dedicating these 2 episodes to victims and victors of domestic violence. Male, female, I don't care what culture. This is not about color, ethnicity, or creed, or religion, because this type of thing is happening all over the world on a daily basis. A lot of people don't speak out because I feel like it's not enough being done for somebody threatening to end your life. You know, you got certain things like protection orders and court proceedings and paperwork that's put in place to help protect the victim. But in the end, a lot of these perpetrators and abusers don't care about no paperwork. If they've already made it up in their mind that they want to hurt you or cause harm to you, there is nothing nobody can say to them that's going to change their mind. That's something that they have to do internally within themselves. It's nothing that nobody on the outside can do to change the narrative in their mind, to change the way they feel about whatever triggered them or whatever type of trauma they've been through. Because a lot of times people who are abusive have been abused themselves in some type of way. And I stand on that. I tell people, and this is no joke, like, what you consume will consume you eventually. And that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on what you consume. A lot of times we consume stuff that's no good for us, and then we get mad at the way the body responds to it. I will say that mental and emotional abuse is probably top tier, and I say that because there are no physical signs that you can see that let you know, like, this person is dealing with that, you know, or this person is inflicting that on somebody. You know, it takes for you to be very observant to that person and their behavior to kind of see or read in between the lines on what's really going on. You know, how this person got to this place. I think a lot of people choose to stay, us as women, because a lot of times our abusers, we got kids with them. We got children with them. And I know for a long time I used to think, like, I don't want to break my family up. You know, I'm going to try to do everything I can to keep my family together. You know, if that means bumps and bruises, black eyes, or whatever, I don't care, because I just want to keep my family together. Looking back now, oh man, that was like the craziest thing to think while being abused. Because not only did that further drive me into depression and trauma and pain, but I also allowed my children to see that. You know, I would have thought that perhaps a lot of stuff they wouldn't have remembered, but you have no way of knowing what a child is going to remember until they start saying stuff to you. You know, I learned that the mind leaves first before the body can even make a decision. And although I had left in my mind, my body was still present in that toxic abusive relationship for a long time. Like, I can say even now, if certain things happen, it will probably trigger me where I will probably have like flashbacks of stuff that I've been through. I've even experienced that with my son. I've probably never told him that, but yeah, certain things he said or done where I'm back in that place probably 20 years prior, where I'm like, oh, having to like check myself, like, oh no, that's not, who did wrong to you, it's tough because the mental and emotional abuse leaves scars that can't nobody see, that the person really don't know how and when or what would trigger them to feel whatever they felt when they was being abused or mistreated. I can definitely say that because I suffer from anxiety, PTSD, and I've read up on that being some of the long-term effects of mental and emotional abuse. I'm sure physical fall in there somewhere too, but those top two, because I believe they play on the heartstrings and the mental. And I feel like once you in somebody's head and you got control over their mind, you got pretty much control over them. So, and I think that's why a lot of people stay, because they be so mentally stuck with what the person may do to them, and so that make them stay. Shout out to all the people who got out of abusive relationship and stood tall on the decision to leave. Whether it was somebody you had kids with or just somebody you had history with. Like, I'm super proud of you. Even if don't nobody else tell you, I'm proud of you. Because that takes so much courage. I don't think people get it. A lot of people won't get it until they experience some of the stuff that, we discussing right now. It's hard for them to have a feeling or a mindset or a thinking on it when they have not experienced it. I think that's hard for anybody to do. But I just want to say, like, you made the right decision. I mean, your life mattered. And you shouldn't have to hurt first and then be told that a person loves you. Because love don't hurt at all. Love is kind, is gentle, is patient, is not aggressive, it's not angry, it's not harmful, it don't hurt. I think that is another form of abuse by telling people that I'm doing this to you because I love you. Or, look what you made me do. Or stuff like, you like when I do this. Or you want me to do this. Different phrases like that makes me sick to the stomach. Because I don't know anybody who signed up to be abused or taken advantage of or hurt, especially somebody that they trusted. I don't know nobody who would just say like, yeah, this is what I'm into. And it's okay and ain't nothing wrong with it. You may have been convinced by your abuser of those things, but in your mind and your heart, you know, like, it's not right, and that you shouldn't be in that situation, and that you need to leave immediately, like, whatever that looks like, or whatever it takes to make that happen, especially if you got children, because allowing a child to watch their mother or their father be abused by somebody do something on a whole nother level to the child. And I'm just now starting to realize the ramifications of some of the things that I've allowed my kids to be present to witness. Both from my end and from other people, you know. But you live and you learn. I'm proud of myself not allowing those type of people who possess those kind of characteristics to get close to me, because I know what to look for. I know the certain signs. I know when my gut, I would say my gut played a major part in me leaving a lot of situations and circumstances, because your body tell you first when something is wrong, like whether it's a stomach ache or uneasy feeling or a headache or something comes over you where you be like, something ain't right, I don't like this the way it's going, or whatever that is. But you know. And I've had trauma in my family due to domestic violence. And I just never wanted my kids to have to deal with the loss of their mom because I couldn't stop, or I couldn't leave this person alone, or I couldn't prevent the person from popping up or doing stuff. And because a lot of times, even when you leave, your abuser will still be trying to do stuff to you. They'll still be popping up places. And don't let them be close with your family. Oh man, that helps like times 20 right there, because they'll even play on your family members and tell you like, well, I just want to talk to him or her. I ain't gonna do nothing. I just want to talk to him. And you may believe like that they not gonna do nothing, or that they being genuine about what they saying. But when a person tell you that they gonna do something to you, or threaten you, or in any kind of way, believe them, because that came from a place of hurt and anger, and those are the only type of feelings and emotions that could cause somebody to be like, you know what, I'm about to hurt you, and I really don't care what happens after that, but I'm just dead set in my mind on hurting you. When somebody tell you something like that, you better believe them. Because too often, we don't believe people when they tell us stuff. We think it's a joke. We think they just playing. I've learned to even see the craziness in the joke. You know how people hit you with little slick stuff? You have to start paying attention to people's mindset and the stuff that they say and the way that they act. And if you sit back long enough, you'll see that it's a pattern. It usually is a pattern with people. Whether it started when they was a kid, whether it started when they was an adult, it's usually a pattern, especially when they won't address it. When they convince themselves and try to convince others that it's not a problem, ain't nothing going on. I have literally been so anxious behind the energy of certain people that I can't allow myself to engage with certain people that carry certain energies, because it disrupts something within my spirit. And I'm wise enough to know now that to listen to that, they call it hone in on it, meaning pay close attention to it and allow it to tell me what it is I need to know, or what it is I need for me. Whether that's time to myself, whether that's to meditate, pray, do some yoga, go for a walk, whatever. That intuition, that gut feeling, it tells you. Even when stuff is bad, it tells you. When stuff is good, it tells you. I would say when stuff is good, your gut may feel like butterflies or something like that. But when it's bad, you definitely know it because you feel it. It's an uneasy, almost nauseous, sick feeling that you get when something ain't right. I just want to say that we only get one life. To get it right, to screw it up, whatever it is we're going to do with it. Don't allow anybody to have that much power over you where you no longer have any power over yourself. Because what I can tell you is that makes you almost like a breeding ground for abusive people. It's almost like riding on a low frequency or low vibration. And they can feel that. They can sense that. They know. There's certain questions they may ask or certain things they inquire about so that they'll know exactly how to approach you and the situation so that they can possibly make you their next victim. I don't have no brothers, so it's always been me and my sister, and I would say that I'm like the boy out of the two of us. Hey, Chase. And some of the things that I think that me and my sister probably have experienced over the years, I just always been my sister keeper. I ain't letting too much go down. You feel me? Period. If I'm around, and I just always felt like that was important because women just get mistreated for real. But let me be clear, sometimes we do the mistreating to ourselves. And I think that that's due to taking on so much. Trying to do so much for so many and not doing enough for ourselves. And that pattern by itself, it sends us in this spiral where we depressed, we overwhelmed, we frustrated, we angry. And I can say trying to heal your mental and childhood traumas and raise your kids at the same time is one of the hardest jobs in the world. Cause I used to be like rah, 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 with my kids all the time. And looking back now, I realized how abusive that was. Verbally abusive it was. I may not have been spanking them. I may not have been whooping them, but I was still beating them down with the stuff that I was saying to them, the aggressive way that I was saying it to them, you know. Waking them up in the morning, screaming and hollering, you know, and then expecting them to have a good day at school. Reprimanding them or saying certain things to them like your feelings don't matter when they try to express themselves about how they feel or how I'm making them feel. That's abusive. You know, I didn't know it then, I know it now, you know. I can see in the many ways that I have been abused how I have allowed those things to play out in my parenting, in my relationships, for sure. Having enough grace with myself right now to accept the things that I can't change, but work on the things that I have control over, and that's continuing to make myself aware, check myself when I need to be, allow myself some time to process, to absorb, to resonate, before I respond. I used to be a very impulsive person, like pop off. And I think that was fueled by a lot of my anger and frustration and all the stuff I had been through. I just was always a fighter, like always aggressive, always into it with somebody. And I don't think I was mad at them. I think I was mad at myself. I wasn't happy with myself. Allowing myself to take a pause, you know, and think first before I react. I think that's so powerful in taking back your power. Call your power back and your energy from anybody who using it without your consent. And this dimension and the previous dimension and anything in the future. When I tell you doing that is so powerful, people can feel it. They can feel you pulling back your power and your energy. I'm telling you. You cut the cord on something that's infected. Watch how the person try to reach out to you after you start calling back your power and your energy. I'm telling you. Like almost automatic. And that's because people don't just use you for stuff that you can see. They use you for stuff that you can't see too. Your energy, your spirit, your character. Especially when they lacking those things. Especially when they don't have them, when they don't possess them. But they see you with it. That's a characteristic of a typical narcissist. For sure. Let me ask you about a lot of stuff that you've been through so I can become that person. Narcissist. Let me portray myself as somebody that I'm not. To gain your trust, to get close to you, and then I'm going to show you who I really am. Because a person can only wear a mask for so long. I want to definitely dedicate again this episode, part 1 and 2, to all of the victims and survivors of domestic violence, of abuse, period. We all got a story to tell, man. I'm hoping that me doing this topic and speaking from the heart and telling a little bit of my truth help inspire people to start talking. Start sharing what you're going through. Start not just allowing yourself to be strong and carry everything and never allow yourself to be fragile, because that's okay. And I'm learning that more and more every day. Like, it's okay for me to be fragile. It's okay for me to bask in my feminine energy, because I've had to walk in my masculine energy for so long that there was no balance until now. You have to have a balance with both your feminine and masculine energy, and that's for everybody. You have to have a balance. But a lot of times people will not have a balance. They'll have more of one over the other. And that's just due to you not first accepting your mess, and then having accountability for what you're doing, and coming up with a plan to be better, to do better, to uplift, to encourage, to build people instead of tear them down. Because I think that's what draws so many people to me. Because even though I've been through so much in my life, I know what it feels like to feel alone, to feel like you don't have nobody you can talk to or depend on, or nobody that really care about what you're going through for real. I know what that feel like, and I think that's why I choose to be that person for certain people, because I would want that person for myself. And so that's why I have decided to be that person, not only to certain people but to myself, so that I can continue to fill my cup up instead of allowing people to suck me dry and then leave me empty, and then I have nothing even for myself, let alone them. I think it's extremely important to you getting back to who you are, getting back true to yourself, gaining some control over your life. It's to just start working on you. Get selfish with you. Don't go to everything you get invited to. Don't share your energy with everybody. Don't, put yourself in certain environments and around certain energies and entities. If you feel uncomfortable or feel some type of way, don't even question it, man. Because whatever it is, it's going to come out later. Don't nothing happen without things being revealed, whether it's at that present moment or later on down the line. But continue to do good things for you. Bring you a nice bath and sit in it. Who told us we can't take baths no more? Light you some candles, some incense, cut all the lights out. Allow your environment to be quiet enough for you to learn how to sit with yourself. Because that's the most uncomfortable thing when you healing and you growing. is to sit with yourself. A lot of us suffer from anxiety, the inability to be able to sit still for long periods of time. But that's what's required for you in order for you to meditate, in order for you to work on yourself. It's called shadow work, for you to work on all the stuff that needs fine-tuning and tightening. It is required. I think it's very much necessary for everybody to take the time to work on themselves, to stop being mad at the people that they come in contact with in this life, and irritated by the things that they say and do, because in the end, we all mirrors of each other. So if somebody is able to aggravate you in some shape, form, or fashion about something, it's because that's something that you need to work on. That's all. It ain't no beef, it ain't no, oh, I want to fight or none of that. It's just simply like, okay, I needed to see that, or I needed to hear that. And just start doing the work, man. We want to reap all the benefits from everything, but we don't want to do the work. We have to. It's imperative, because can't nobody fix you. You have to fix yourself. I love y'all. I just want to tell y'all, continue to be great, man. For the last couple of weeks, it's been a lot going on in my family. Keep us lifted up in prayer. Much going on. But God is still in control, and He is good all the time. Make sure y'all stay tuned for future episodes of Unspoken Truth. I love y'all. Peace.